We need some advice from you, sir. As a law student, what are the things we should do in our law school? How to use our time in our law school? And how to be a better advocate or a lawyer after law school?
Now, first you must know whether you like law. It's a very important thing. Just because you are doing law does not mean that you'll practice as a lawyer. So first thing you must identify is whether I have the passion. This is a passion-driven profession. In this profession, it takes a long time to stabilize, particularly when you are a straightforward person. It takes a long time. It takes 20 years, at least. 15 years, 20 years. So one, whether I have the passion to do it. Is this the one which will give me happiness? If that is a tick, then the rest we can follow. For instance, cinema thorayathu. Let us take cinema. How many people get into cinema and the struggles that they have to get a break in cinema. And if you go and tell them why you are doing all this, sir, adna sir, I am passion. That is what is making me happy. For assistant director on the cameraman or non scene on the board, that makes them. So the first thing is, do I have the passion? Yes, I have the passion. Then second, I have to work hard. In the profession, if you don't work hard, it does not work. If you don't want to work hard, you can be a fraudster. That's all. There are only two things here. Luck plays a part, but then luck is hard work. So, there are some people like Sachin Tendulkar who are born with so much of abilities. But in spite of it, the hard work that they put in, that's the inspiration part. The inspiration from Sachin Tendulkar is not that he's a prodigy. You are born a prodigy and you have no control over that. What is that I will learn? What I will learn is the amount of hard work that he has put in, and the last words which he said. He said, if you want to be known to the outside world, how would you want the world to know you? Sachin Tendulkar said, I don't want the world to know me as a person who scored so many runs, so many centuries. I want the world to know me as a good man. So, this hard work becomes very important, number two. Number three, consistency. Your hard work must not be like some graph, highs and lows. Highs and lows. So, you must know that you have to keep up a particular level of working, irrespective of whether I am earning, irrespective of whether I am getting cases, irrespective of what situations are prevailing. I'll keep on doing this. So, consistency is number three. And the number four is patience. You must be very patient. Impatient. That's why I told that the biggest challenge for this generation, Gen X and the other, is impatience. Impatience does not work here. It's a long drawn process. By definition, it's a very long drawn process. And not everyone is endowed with brilliance. Not everyone is endowed with the high level of intellectual nothing. I always put myself there. I was not endowed with any of those. But I was able to make it up with that amount of hard work that I was able to put in with a lot of passion. So the definition is this: if you work with a lot of passion, you end up in happiness. If you work in an atmosphere where you don't like that work, and you are successful also, you become depressed and anxious. In spite of your success, don't you see it? Don't you see what happens to people in the corporate sector? 40 years, everybody wants to do organic farming. I don't know. If you want to do organic farming, you should have done from the beginnings. Why did you do IIT, IIM, and then 35 suddenly something? Everybody wants to do organic farming today. They are so sick and tired. hopping. Life is all about hopping from one place to another. Continuous hopping from job, hopping from relationship, hopping from one place to another. So, these things, if you are able to do it, other things, what I should read, how I should equip, there is no particular formula for that. But you must read everything. You must see everything. You must experience everything. You must be a rounded person, basically. You should not be that bookish person. அப்படியே லா ஒரு ஆள்கிட்ட பேசும்போது அப்படியே லா திரும்பி லாக்கு வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். வந்துட்டு வேற தாண்டவே முடியாது, சில பேர்கிட்ட பேசவே முடியாது, போர் அடிச்சிடும். For a lawyer, you have to read everything. If you have read the life of Abraham Lincoln, when he was practicing, meaning அந்த லெவல் வேற லெவல் அது, he will read whatever books falls into his hands. Botany, sociology, suddenly something like சம்பந்தம், what book comes to him, he will read that book. அது கஷ்டம். That's a very extreme proposition. But you have to be a rounded person. You should know a bit of everything. That's one big advantage of being a lawyer. So these things you will have to keep on cultivating, and you should not fall into the trap of your desperation for paying the next month's rent. It's possible that will make you sort of compromise on certain things. There is no fixed formula for all these things, but generally I can say that you may have to follow all these things. But if you do it, there is a guarantee that you will come up in a profession. There is no doubt at all. Will I come up in 100%? There is no doubt. Not only in this, in everything else. Everything will come. But உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருக்கான்னு பாருங்க. Whether this is giving you happiness. And you will have to think about it when you are calm. ரொம்ப ஆங்ஷியஸாக இருக்கும்போது, காமாக இருக்கிற டைமே ரொம்ப கம்மியாக இருக்கிறதுனால, when you are calm and you are talking with your own friends, you are talking with your parents, பேசாதீங்க, காலி பண்ணுறோம். They will completely tilt you, finish you off. ராகுல்னு ஒருத்தர் ஒரு கிரிக்கெட் பிளேயர் இருக்காரு. He was excelling at international level. Do you know the concern of his mother? He said, எப்படியாவது அந்த இன்ஜினியரிங் முடிச்சிரு, இன்னும் இன்ஜினியரிங்கே முடிக்காமல் வச்சிருக்கீங்க. Parents are parents.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Since I've been associated with you for the last 35 years, know you way back, how are you able to maintain that same old person, that persona in you? Anand Venkatesh has a song that, Justice Anand Venkatesh has a song that the same is absolutely about honesty, value oriented, and a lot of things have changed. When we even met, you were just doing your commerce. After that, you became a lawyer, then a judge, your family, a role of husband, father. But how we are able to maintain the same energy levels also? Because you seem to be wearing a lot of hats. You are a sportsman, then you are into music also, you sing nice songs. Then you are a good inspiration for youngsters. I'm seeing you in a lot of YouTube channels. So you talk to them with so much of maturity. How are you able to, where do you get so much energy?
I celebrate life. I'm happy that I am born and I am living in this world. So we do not know where the end is. We have started. In our case, it is 2/3 over. It's another 1/3, which I tell everybody. And you are given a particular position where you can influence people. Let that influence be good influence. Today, whether this would have worked if I had continued as a lawyer, I don't know. I don't know whether I would have got this much of response, this much of following. All this is happening because I have been endowed in a particular position. I have been given a particular position. That position is helping me in a lot of things. So I thought if that position can really influence people, and I have a decently large tenure. I have another 8 years to go. And in 6 years, I am able to talk with so many people. Then I want to, first, I must be a happy person. I must be somebody who is open to everything. And I must be young in my heart. If I am not young, how will I understand young people? Fortunately, my son is 19 years. So many things I learned from him. He is my guru insofar as understanding youngsters. Because we fall into this bracket of blaming youngsters for everything. Arrogant, flippant, culture illa, pleasant ave illa, aduvave illa, iduvave illa. As if we were all சொல்ல விரும்புகிறேன். So அந்த ஒரு you will find that attitude. Anyway, you will find that attitude. And that attitude has not come up for the first time. I will, since many are aspiring lawyers here, I would want to quote one letter which Norton had written to some Iyer or Iyengar. At that time only they were practicing. So he says in 1924, please note the year, 1924 he says, the standard in the bar is deteriorating. We do not know where all this is going to end. Therefore, 1924. So what I understood was that this trend is always there. This trend to portray as if ours is the best and what follows is the worst. Is always there, falling in standard, falling in culture, falling in this, falling in that. It continuously happens. If you have such an attitude, how are you going to communicate with youngsters? And ultimately, it is these youngsters who are going to be the torchbearers. They are the future of tomorrow. If you don't give them hope at all, how do you do it? So when you are doing it, you must be as young as possible. They tie எல்லாம் போட்டு, they suit போட்டுன்னு. So students, அப்படின்னு ஆரம்பிச்சா கம்யூனிகேஷன் இருக்கு. பட் என்ன மாதிரி எக்ஸ்ட்ரீமுக்கும் போடணும், பாட்டு பாடிலாம் ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். I start with songs and all that. But what I find is that it may look very unorthodox for a person who strictly the decorum follow பண்றவங்கலாம் என்ன அந்த டீம்ல 11th 12th தான். பட் எனக்கு அதை பற்றி கேரே இல்லை. நீ உன் டீம்ல போடலன்னு போ. எனக்கு யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ்ட்டு பேசிடும், எனக்கு ஆஸ்பைரிங் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்ட்டு பேசிடும், எனக்கு ஜூனியர்ஸ்ட்டு பேசிடும். அவங்களுக்கு ஏதோ என்கிட்ட ஒரு நம்பிக்கை தெரியுது. அதை நான் இந்த பொசிஷன்லேருந்து கொடுத்தே ஆகணும். தட் இஸ் மை டியூட்டி. ஃபார் தட் ஐ எம் எக்யூப்பிங் மை செல்ஃப் பை கீப்பிங் மை செல்ஃப் சியர்ஃபுல், பை கீப்பிங் மை செல்ஃப் ஃபிட், மீனிங் ஐ எம் அ பார்ன் ஒபேஸ் பர்சன். ஸோ எக்ஸசைஸ் பண்ணலன்னா நான் 130 கிலோ ஆகிட்டேன் அட் ஒன் ஷாட். ஸோ 6 days a week I hit the gym. 6 days a week I hit the gym. நல்ல வேலை நம்ம அந்த கிரிக்கெட் ஆடினதெல்லாம் வந்து இட் இஸ் ஹெல்பிங் மீ. ஏன்னா அந்த டைம்லேயே என்கிட்ட சொல்லுவாங்க, எந்த கடையில் அரிசி சாப்பிட்றான்னு இவ்வளோ கிண்டல் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க. அது நம்மளோட பாடி ஷேமிங் நம்மளுடைய பீரியட்லாம் வாஸ் எக்ஸ்ட்ரீம் பாடி ஷேமிங். இப்போல்லாம் பாடி ஷேமிங் பண்ணால் செருப்பர் அடிப்பாங்க. Even the youngsters don't encourage it. My son sometimes will come and ask me, who gave you that right? அது எப்படி நீ அவனுடைய உடம்பு பார்த்து சொல்லுவார்? ஒன்றுமே சொல்லலை. You cannot do that. ஸோ அந்த அளவுக்கு அந்த ஒரு அவேர்னஸ் இருக்கு. ஸோ இந்த பொசிஷன் is helping you in doing it. I'm very happy to do it. For me, from yesterday night, நான் போன வாரம் சொன்ன மாதிரி தான், last week I spoke with another bunch of young lawyers. I told them from yesterday night onwards I'm tossing and turning. இப்போ நாளைக்கு இவங்களெல்லாம் பார்க்க போகிறோம், பேச போகிறோம். ஸோ அந்த ஒரு பேஷன் அண்ட் சம்டைம்ஸ் அப்நார்மாலிட்டி ஆல்சோ ஒர்க்ஸ். If you are very normal, ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். Abnormality also works. I am very abnormal in all these things. My expressions, the way in which I sometimes என் ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர்ஸே சொல்கிறாங்க, you are going overboard. கண்டபடிலாம் பேசுகிற. I am a package. If you want to take me as a package, take me as a package or leave me. Don't say that இந்த பேக்கேஜில் இதெல்லாம் சரியில்லைன்னு சொல்லாத. Take me as a package. பேக்கேஜ் டீல் போடும்போது எப்படி போடுறோம்? எல்லாத்தையும் தான் எடுத்தாகணும். இதில் சரியில்லை அதில் சரியில்லை. Who is perfect in this world? Nobody is perfect. I don't intend anything wrong to others. I don't intend anything bad for others. And I don't need to get into fame just by doing all these things. Correct? What do I get out of this? Except the satisfaction and happiness. Nothing extra, no income. In fact, it eats upon my time. And there is no need for all these things. But what is making me do is that I get tremendous happiness out of this. So if I get happiness, and the answer is done. If I get happiness, you will go that extra yard. You will make yourself cheerful. You will not make yourself boring. அடுத்த தடவை ஐயோ அந்த வானம் பேசினே இருக்காங்க. If you are not boring others and people are willing to hear you, it means that you have to find some method of communicating. எனக்கு டான்ஸ் ஆட தெரியாது, அதுக்கு தான் அது கூட ஆடுறேன். தட் ஐ வுட் ஹவ் டன். அது நமக்கு தெரியாதுன்றதுனால பாட்டோட நிறுத்திட்டேன். I do a lot of things. I become பயங்கர இன்ஃபார்மலாக இருக்கணும். And the last question, consciously on the day when I was elevated, I decided that I will not put this into my head. I will not put this into my head. I will continue to be the same person I am today. But Durga Prasad, I am telling you, it's a major challenge. Power is so much that sometimes it plays. It really plays. There is no doubt at all. அது இல்லை நான் வந்து மகாரிஷிலாம் சொல்லிக்கிறேன். It plays. Power plays. Sometimes that irritation comes and you tend to sort of put down somebody. All that happens. But what is important is to realize that Patra, careful, Jagrata, don't get into that. How do you get out of the situation? ரொம்ப கோவம் வந்து அந்த கேஸை டிசைட் பண்ணாமல் ஓர வச்சு. Correct? Your anger must not finish off that case. Your anger must not sort of take away a junior from the profession. ஐயோ இது நம்மளுக்கு இல்லை போனது இருந்தாலும் இப்படி கத்துறானேன்னு சொல்லி அன்னியோட கிளம்பி போய் வேற எங்கேயாவது ப்ரைவேட் கம்பெனியில் போய் சேர்ந்துட்டாங்க. ஸோ இட்ஸ் அ கண்டினியூஸ் சேலஞ்ச் தான். பட் ஐ எம் வில்லிங் டு டேக் தட்.
Truly amazing, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. So again, I want advice. You were saying விபூதி பட்டெல்லாம் வச்சுருப்பேன், பண்ணுற வேலைலாம் ஏத்தியஸ்ட் மாதிரி இருக்கும், லெஃப்டிஸ்ட் மாதிரி இருக்கும். ஸோ அட் டைம்ஸ் யூ கேன் கம் ஆஃப் as blasphemous to some people. So how do you do it without shedding your religiosity?
Right from the beginning, I have always been a rebellious person. Nature-ave, if you ask me to do this, I will not do it. இப்படி யோசினா அப்படி யோசிக்க மாட்டேன். ஸோ இட்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆஃப்டர் இட் விபூதி பட்டா இஸ் நாட் சம்திங் விச் ஐ ஸ்டார்டட் ஆஃப்டர் பிகமிங் எ ஜட்ஜ். தட்ஸ் சம்திங் விச் வாஸ் ஹேப்பனிங் ஈவன் பிஃபோர். So there were many in my close friend circuit saying that you are giving a particular indication by putting yourself like that. I told him that even without that I can be like that. Even without a vibhuti patta and without a kumkumam, I can be oriented that way by showing it in the orders and all that. It's possible. It's not necessary that I have to figuratively show myself and then only do it. Not necessary. If I'm a politically correct person, I can do it. So that is something very, very personal to me. See, spirituality is something like a relationship between the husband and wife within four walls. What happens between the husband and wife between the four walls, do you even discuss? What all happens within that four walls? You don't discuss. You don't go about saying that you know what happened yesterday. You don't do that. Correct? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says that it must be to such an extent that you must not even be seen in the temple in the daytime. When you want to pray to God, when you want to see yourself, cover yourself with a big blanket so that nobody in this world knows what you are doing, what you are praying, what your spiritual relationship is. So Spirituality for me is not exhibitionism in any form. It can be in any form, exhibition. So that I don't believe, and I don't fall into that category at all. So when cases comes before you, as I told you, the judge has to go by the prevailing mood in the society. I said a system is for the society. If the society does not believe a system, there is no use in having a system. So you have to be aware as to what is happening in this society. How are people looking at various things? And you have to, within the four corners of law, you have to attend to that mood that is prevailing, that thing which is prevailing in the society. So let us take one case of this priesthood. I said Jadi will not come within the purview of this, correct? What is our understanding about Jadi first? That's the first question. Why did caste begin? எதை வச்சு இந்த காஸ்ட் ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க? One explanation is caste வந்து செய்யற தொழிலை வச்சு ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. So it is not based on where you were born. It was based on what you were doing. What action you were performing. That was the basis for the caste arbitrage. But as it progressed, all that is gone. So today, how is the caste identified? You are born in a particular family. In the caste சேர்ந்த ஆள்கிட்ட போறதா இந்த caste. இந்த caste சேர்ந்தா இந்த caste. Okay. இந்த caste system இருக்கிறதுனால, did it really bring about any benefit to the society, or it was destroying the society? Anybody will say that it was destroying the society, because people belonging to a particular caste were dominating by holding positions in all places. Just take the names before 1950, you will understand what I am saying. So the system was not helping, and your so-called caste does not have a meaning at all today, except the fact that you are born in a particular family. Sorry, right? So if caste does not have a meaning today, according to me, it does not have a meaning today. If it does not have a meaning today, and if a person is endowed with all the qualifications to perform puja inside a temple, why is it that it should be restricted to a particular caste? That's all. So why I wrote that judgment? I am looking at society. What is happening in the society? Caste வச்சு என்ன பண்றாங்க? கோயிலுக்குள்ள யாரை விடுறாங்க, யாரை விட மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. யாரை வந்து கடவுளுடைய ஃப்ரெண்டா ட்ரீட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க, யாரை வந்து கடவுள்கிட்ட இருந்து டிஸ்டன்ஸ்ல வச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க. People believe in all that, I am saying. Then your order must make people think. What is it that is going to happen if a person belonging to a different caste goes and says the same mantra? Nothing is going to happen. If you do that, people who are staunchly today, our society எப்படி தெரியுமா இருக்கு? Our society is like this. The problem is you will have to be either a rightist or you will have to be a leftist. There is nothing called as a middle path at all in our society. And one other important challenge நான் சொல்றது மறந்துட்டேன் உங்ககிட்ட. Following the middle path. Very difficult today. Today in the prevailing society, following middle path is almost impossible. Because இந்த பக்கம் எழுதினா இந்த பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற மாட்டிக்கும், இந்த பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற மாதிரி எழுதினா இந்த பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற திட்டம். Nobody understands that is what you do when you are traveling in a middle path. பகவத்கீதை சொல்லிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. Bhagavad-gita again and again says that you have to take that middle path. If you have to remain happy, Bhagavad-gita says that you have to take the middle path. There is no this path, this extreme path and no extreme. But unfortunately our country is becoming this or this. And நீங்கள் கண்ணை திறந்து பாருங்க, கமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பாருங்க, it is either rightist or leftist. So இதுக்கு ஃபேவரபுளாக இருக்கணும்னா ஜுடிஷியரி மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ் ஒன்றுமே கிடையாதுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. இவங்க அசிங்கமாக திட்டுவாங்க ஜுடிஷியரி. இவங்களுக்கு ஃபேவரபுளாக இருந்ததுனாக்கா ஜுடிஷியரி இஸ் அவர் லாஸ்ட் ஹோப். Even the judiciary is going against our culture. Are they not saying it? Yeah. ஏன்னா உனக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரி ஆர்டர் எழுதுறது, ஒருத்தருக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரி ஆர்டர் எழுதுறதுல இண்டிபெண்டன்ட் ஜுடிஷியரி எங்க வருது? So, coming back to your question, it is not leftist rightist. I didn't say that I can be sounding like an atheist. I can be sounding like a leftist or a communist. நான் சொன்னது not because I want to. It is branded so. There is a difference between what I want to and how I am branded. How I am being branded is not within my control. That is the forces which do it. And today, because of your social media, it's very easy to do it. At one point of time, you had nothing else than your newspaper and magazines, landline. அது வரதுக்கே 3 வருஷம் ஆகும். Today you have everything in the fingertips and you can send messages across the. So you can influence. Today, what is that the political parties are doing? They have a separate team working on social media. How to twist, not in India only, across the world. Today elections are influenced only by social media. So, when I said that I may sound like an atheist, I may sound like a rightist, I may sound like a leftist, I don't intend to do it. I will be branded like that by the concerned persons who are in those extremes, is what I attempted to say.
Good afternoon, Lordship. I'm Vikashni, second year law student. First of all, Lordship, I'm so much into your lecture sessions, Lordship. In one of your sessions, where you spoke at the Madras High Court, you spoke about the stumbling blocks are the real character builders, and you stressed about that do not be inside the bubble. Life starts when you get out of the bubble, and that's really insightful. And I came out of the bubble, and I'm so grateful for that, sir. And at the next session, you spoke about understanding the term proved under Indian Evidence Act at the Tamil Nadu Open University, and that really increased my interest in studying the Indian Evidence Act. And coming to my question, as a judge, what are the qualities and the skills that the law students and the advocates must possess and they mustn't possess, according to you, sir?
What you must possess, I have already said.
Okay, sir.
What you must not possess is impatience. What you must not possess is dishonesty. What you must not possess is to get into desperation. If you fall under any of these things, then you will automatically also compromise on values. That's all. Apart from that, the subject and all that will automatically come. All law students think that when they ask me these questions, I'll ask them to say, transfer of property la inda atharappadi, specific relief act la anda atharappadi. Adala na solradave illa. Adala automatically you will know. There is no need for an advice at all. And I did not follow all those things. Generally what I say outside, if I have not followed, I don't say. Today I can say you do physical fitness because I am doing physical fitness. Today I can say that you be free in your expressions because I am free with my expressions. I don't care about political correctness anymore. So I, to a large extent, try to say what I follow. And I try to say what I have in my mind. Sometimes it makes people happy, sometimes it makes them angry. But we have to say what we have to say. So if you are consciously doing this, your practice itself will be such that you will not get dishonest clients first. Understand one thing, if you go to a bar, generally if you ask people, sir, inga yaar sir nalla nyayamana advocate yaarna rendu per solluvaanga solல மாட்டாங்க சொல்லுவாங்க. ஃபேமிலி குள்ளேயே எடுத்துக்கோங்களேன், யார்கிட்ட போய் அவர்கிட்ட கேளுங்க, நியாயமாக சொல்லுவாங்க. அவன்கிட்ட போயிடாது. How did everybody know? அவன்கிட்ட போயிடாதீங்கன்னு எப்படி சொன்னாங்க? How did they know that? I mean, law. அவர்கிட்ட போங்க, he knows. அந்த ட்ரையல் ப்ராக்டிஸ் நல்லா பண்ணுவார், நல்ல நாலேஜ் எப்படி தெரியும்? அவர் டெய்லி லெக்சர் கொடுத்தாரா? நோ, he performs and people are looking at that performance. So the word gets out very fast. what type of a person you are. ரொம்ப நாள் நடிக்க முடியாது. You cannot act for a long time unless you are a psychopath. A person who is very perfect, you must be very careful with him actually. Most of the times he will be very dubious and diabolic. And the Indrani Mukherjee Parvati, please see it. I'm seriously telling you, what all the intellectual capacity of that lady is just mind-boggling. And she can just come up with answers which will make you believe. And at one thing, she was very good looking. So she took advantage of that also. And how all she manipulated and came up. And how she responds for a case where a person who was introduced as a sister, who ultimately was found to be her daughter, just vanished for 3 years. And she says, to bring bad name to me, she vanished. And there is no thought process at all. All her answers are just smooth. She was inside jail for 6 years as an underclass prisoner. Coming out of the jail, she goes in a Mercedes, smiling, waving hands, giving interviews. He says, first to find out the dead body. Where is the dead body? Who told you that she is not alive? According to me, she is alive. Okay, you are the mother. I don't know. She wants to bring a bad name for me. So she has vanished. Today the justice is not for her. Justice is for me. That's how she ends it. And she is one of the most powerful persons at the INX media who were in that field. They know how powerful they were. She was a very powerful lady at that point of time. So, what you should not possess in getting it.
You're truly an inspiration.
Thank you.
Can we cap it at the last question? That's okay.
Yeah, I have no problem. My energy level is very different.
So, thank you for helping us bond or kindle our intellectual thoughts in this wonderful morning, sir. Actually, by seeing you, we are getting by regaining confidence over the institution of judiciary, sir. My question is, we have been nearly 76 years of independence. And, so, access to justice, we say justice is the last hope, but access to justice has been restricted to certain class, we can say. Because it's access to justice is a rule of law is only for people who have the ability to access justice. So, what will be the solution? Because we have a national legal service, state legal service, pro bono service, but as far as the data says, people, because they have no other choice, they go for that. They are not satisfied with their arguments or representation.
Whenever you people ask me questions on what will I do in this profession, how many of you are willing to do pro bono? You please ask yourself. I don't want you to raise your hands. Please ask yourself. How many of you want to? I will go and do with this knowledge of law, with this graduation which I have got, with this enrollment I have made. I can make a change in the lives of the downtrodden. I can make a change in the lives of the people who are fighting for their rights. For that, I don't care whether I get money or not. How many are prepared? Theoretically, we speak that access to justice is not available. People are finding it very difficult. Hopeless people are getting into legal aid because they have no other choice. Correct? Is the present generation, is a small section of this present generation even willing to get into that? What are we, I'm not on A or B, I'm only saying what is that crowd? Earlier, even in the High Court, there were a bunch of lawyers, I don't want to name any of them here, who will only take up issues like this. You will find that whenever it comes to fighting cases like this, some authority exceeding the power, that bunch of lawyers their presence will be very apparent. Today it is not there. Today it is not there. problem is that as you complete law, the first thing we are looking at is placement. That's what the majority is. I am not saying it is wrong. Please don't misunderstand me. I am not saying it is wrong. What is that we are looking at first? Placement. இங்கே 90 தராங்க, இங்கே 1.10 தராங்க, இது 1.10. Then natural. That's all. So it all depends on that number placement, and they will just squeeze you. They will not even allow you to go and sleep in your house. உங்களை அப்படியே சும்மா பொழிஞ்சு தள்ளி ஃபார்ம்ன்ற பேரில் நாசம் பண்ணிடுறாங்க. அது ஐ பிலாங் டு திஸ் ஃபார்ம், ஐ பிலாங் டு தட் ஃபார்ம். அப்படியே கண்ணெல்லாம் இடிங்க போய் எனக்கு கருப்பா. So if that is our mindset, how is it that we even have a locus standi to talk about? I am not talking about your locus standi. I am talking about what is our locus standi to talk about access to justice. Who is going to help them? What are you doing? The question. என்கிட்ட வந்து உங்க சிஸ்டம் எப்படி இருக்கேன்னு கேட்டானாக்கா, நான் சிஸ்டம் பற்றி ஒரு 1000 தப்பு சொல்லணும். நான் என்ன பண்றேன்றது தான் கொஸ்டின். What are you doing towards, what is your role in this system? How are you trying to bring about a change? How are you trying to improve the lives of others? How are you trying to bring about a confidence in the society? What are you doing? நான் அதுதான் போல் சொல்றேன். So it depends on what I want to focus. What is my focus? For me, I will fight for the downtrodden. I will fight. I mean, fight பண்ண நிறைய பேர் கம்யூனிஸ்ட் பிராண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க, லெஃப்டிஸ்ட் பிராண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க, ஆர் மாவோயிஸ்ட் பிராண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க. You have to be ready for everything, or they will say that you are acting against the culture of this country. That's a new trend. When you say something, they will say Bharat culture you are going against. Most of the time, I don't understand what that culture is. இப்போ நான் பேசுனது blasphemous, பட் என்ன ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியாது. அதனால I keep talking. Truth is very uncomfortable. If you want to go with a trend, there must be people who question that trend. Questioningன்றது வந்து ஜென்ரலாக லாயர்ஸ் கிட்டே தான் வரணும், பிகாஸ் it is understood, expected that they are the ones who knows about the rights that are available and the duties that they are supposed to perform. If that community is not willing to fight, if the community starts identifying itself with parties, ideologies, where is the neutrality there? It will be either this party or this party or this party or this ideology, this idea. So everything which you talk about will be revolving around that ideology only. Where is the neutrality there? It is not as if every ideology இருக்கிற எல்லா விஷயமும் கரெக்ட்னு யார் சொன்னா? There are problems in communism. There are real problems in communism. So when you are attached to that ideology and you talk, you must also know that I will maintain neutrality here and I will say that this is wrong in my system. So what is the system I am working in? I am today working in a judicial system. When I am working in a judicial system, எந்த தப்பு சொன்னாலும் கோவப்பட்டு ஜுடிஷியல் சிஸ்டம் கிடையாது அடம் பிடிச்சிட்டே இருந்தோம்னாக்கா, then there is no scope for any evolution at all, there is no scope for any improvement at all. So first I must admit, yes sir, this is a problem in my system. Then what are you going to do is the next question. Problem identification is one thing. After you identify the problem, what are you going to do is the next thing. So today you are talking about access to the system. Poor people இருக்கு, நீ என்ன பண்ண போற? It's not as if there is no answer for that. There is an answer, but அது ஒரு கரடு முரடான பாதை. அந்த பாதையில் நடக்கிறதுக்கு நிறைய பேருக்கு விருப்பம் இல்லை. அந்த பாதையில் பணம் வராது, அந்த பாதையில் உங்களை பிராண்ட் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. அந்த பாதையில் போனீங்கன்னாக்கா it's possible that you may not have a great future, because when it comes to elevation and all that, already you have been branded. Correct? And you keep on fighting strong people, powerful people. The more you fight powerful people, the more you will be banished. Are you prepared? Really easier பண்ண முடியாது. ஏன்னா most of the public interest litigations are all private interest litigation only. எல்லாம் convoluted litigations தான் பாதி. எந்த சிச்சுவேஷன்ல எதிர வந்ததுன்னே தெரியாது, ஏன் வந்ததுன்னே தெரியாது, சடனா. So we misuse a system like that. It boils down to what I answered. We are lacking tall persons. In the yesteryears, if somebody wants to get involved into such public interest, they had a bunch of lawyers like that. They had an organization or an association like that. Today, please tell me who is available. They are ரொம்ப கம்மி. ரொம்ப பக்கத்தில் போய் பார்த்தா ஏதாவது ஒரு அஃபிலியேஷன் வச்சுருப்பான். எங்கேருந்தோ அவனுக்கு ஒரு கனெக்ஷன் இருக்கும், அவனுக்கு ஏதோ ஒரு கட்டிங் வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். See today, இந்த எலெக்ஷன்லாம் நடக்குது, you will know that some parties will not even get one seat. But that party will be having candidates in all constituencies. And they perfectly know that it will not work. கிடைக்காது. ஏன் நிற்கிறாங்கன்னு யாராவது பக்கத்தில் போய் பார்த்துக்காங்க? There is a huge cut that goes to them just to split votes. So election is the earning time for that party. I'll get a bulk amount just to split votes. There is no genuineness at all, no? You are contesting an election and you are earmarking candidates not for the benefit of the society, but to split votes, to help a particular party to win in that place. எந்த ஜாதி இந்த கான்ஸ்டியூன்ஸில் எந்த ஜாதியை சேர்ந்தவங்க இருக்காங்க, அந்த ஜாதியை சேர்ந்தவங்க தான். என்ன ஜாதி ஒழிப்போம்னு என்ன சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கோம்? வாட் இஸ் தட் we are dealing with? Nobody wants to banish jati. Everybody wants to have jati. If you banish caste, doing politics is very difficult. If you maintain caste, politicians are the playing ground. இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு தெரியுமா? தெரிஞ்சாதான் கொஸ்டின் பண்ண முடியுமா? இப்படி கொஸ்டின் பண்ணினாலும் கூட நீங்கள் போட்டு பாருங்க, அது மாதிரி ஒரு மெசேஜ். There will be a team which will just tear you up. இருக்கிறதுலே கேவலமான கெட்ட வார்த்தை எழுந்துட்டோம். கரெக்ட்? You have to be prepared for all that. How many are prepared into the question? Sir, access. Who is prepared? You are going to, அவன் என்ன சொல்ல போகிறான்? என்னுடைய நிலத்தை இந்த பவர்ஃபுல் எம்எல்ஏ வந்து ஆக்கிரமிச்சுக்கிட்டான் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவான். போன உடனே அந்த எம்எல்ஏ ஆளுங்க வந்து உனக்கு எவ்வளோ வேணும் அப்படின்னு கேட்பான். எனக்கு அடுத்த மாதம் ஃபீஸ் கட்டணும், அடுத்த மாதம் வாடகை கொடுக்கணும், என் ஒய்ஃப் வந்து என்னை நம்பி கல்யாணம் மேலே பண்ணிட்டா, இது ஒரு ப்ரெஷர் ஒன்று வரும். அப்போ என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? நிறைய பேர் இது கன்சிடர் ஆகிடுவாங்க. ஏன் அந்த ஆள்கிட்ட போய் சண்டை போட்டுருவாங்க? நான் அவர்கிட்ட பேசுகிறேன், நீங்கள் ஒரு அமௌண்ட் கொடுப்பாரு, நீ கொடுத்துருங்க அவங்க லேண்டை, நின்று சண்டை போட்டுருக்கியா? ஏன்னா அந்த எம்எல்ஏக்கு வந்து உங்ககிட்ட ஆர் அந்த பார்ட்டியை சேர்ந்த டிஸ்ட்ரிக்ட் செக்ரட்டரி வாட் எவர் இட் இஸ், அவன்கிட்ட வந்து உங்களுக்கு லாவில் கிடைக்கலன்னா அவன் வேற எங்கேயாவது போய் சாதிச்சுடுவாங்க. போலீஸ் வச்சு பண்ணிப்பான், ஜாதியை வச்சு பண்ணிப்பான், எதையோ வச்சு பண்ணிப்பான். அதுக்கு நிற்கிறதுக்கு யார் இருக்காங்க? அட்வொகேட்ஸ் யார் இருக்காங்க? ஹூ இஸ் தேர்? ஐ டோன்ட் நோ. ஸோ சிஸ்டம் அதுக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுதான்னா எனக்கு தெரியல. ஐ ரியலி டோன்ட் நோ. ஸோ இட்ஸ் அன் இண்டிவிஜுவல் சாய்ஸ். இனிமே அப்போ என்ன நடக்கணும்னா, நீ என்ன பண்ணுற அதை பற்றி, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷன் வந்தால் நீ என்ன பண்ணுற? யூ டூ வாட் இஸ் ரைட், அவ்வளோதான் சொல்லணும். அதுக்கு மேலே நம்ம ஒன்றும் பண்ணுறதுக்கு இல்லை. ஏன்னா எலெக்ஷன்லேயே ஓட்டு போட மாட்டாங்க. இட் இஸ் எவ்ரி டைம் த பர்சன்டேஜ் இஸ் கம்மிங் டவுன். வாட் டஸ் இட் ஷோ யூ? வாட் வாஸ் தேர் இன் தி ப்ரீவியஸ் எலெக்ஷனை விட, அதுக்கு முன்னாடி இந்த எலெக்ஷனை விட ப்ரீவியஸ் எலெக்ஷன் கம்மி, போன எலெக்ஷனை விட இந்த எலெக்ஷனில் 4% கம்மி. அப்போ என்ன அர்த்தம்? அப்போ என்ன பண்ண முடியாது? நான் போய் ஓட்டு போடுவேன். ஐ வில் கோ அண்ட் ஓட். அண்ட் என்னை சுற்றி இருக்கிறவங்கள்ட்ட ஐ வில் டெல் தம் ஓட்டு போடணும். ஏன்னா பேசி 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 பிரயோஜனப்படாது. வி ஆர் த கிங்ஸ் இந்த டைமில், நம்ம அதை தேர்ந்தெடுத்தாதான் உண்டு அப்படின்னு சொல்லணும். அதை மீறி நம்மளால் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? Now this time corporation is saying they adopted 47 different methods to create awareness among the voters. And the answer is, அன்றைக்கி ரொம்ப வெயிலாக இருந்தது, அன்றைக்கி வந்து வீக்கெண்டு, நாங்களாம் ஊருக்கு போயிட்டோம். அதனால் இட் இஸ் இண்டிவிஜுவல் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் வாட் யூ do. Anything else? Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable morning. 2 hours just flew by. Thank you so much for that. Listening to you made me, brought one point again and again to my mind. In most of what you talk, Tamil, there is something they say. எதுவாயும் மூழ்கி விடாது, மிதக்க கற்றுக்கொள். நீங்கள் பவரில் வந்து, I think one of your friends who questioned you and you said, it isn't very easy, it is very challenging, I do get caught in the ஒரு விஷயத்தை ரொம்ப candid, you just said it, and hats off to you for that, sir. And this is one place where I think we've heard the word happiness being talked so much more than judiciary. Again, hats off to you for that. I don't have a question, but I have a small submission. Picking up from the points you talked about, answering this gentleman here, PIL case, I was reminded of something that the judiciary came into in banning hoardings for the safety of people.
Correct.
I suddenly see a rampant menace, a public menace, in terms of hawkers using megaphones and traders or commercial establishments using digital video displays. I think both are equally hazardous and dangerous to public as well as the ones who are using it. In terms of the ones who are using the megaphones, the guy who is selling it himself will be put to a lot of hazard in the long run. I did my best talking to all those people who scream out their products and prices by telling them, please reduce the volume. Pathamadi Tandi, I'm not going to come hearing this sound. So it's pointless, but none of them do understand. I think that's some menace we can curb, and also the commercial establishment.
Implementation in this country in many cases is very difficult.
Just a submission, sir.
What a judge must very perfectly understand is that whether his order is workable. There is one thing to write an order just to get an applause. The next is to see whether that order is workable. It's very important to see if that order is workable. Some cases, some people will say that somebody is running a printing press without getting permission of the corporation or whatever authority. Landlord will basically say, my tenant is doing it. This person will be having people in corporation. So the court will say, go and do inspection. Corporation man will say, when they go, it will be empty. When they leave, again they will start operating. I am giving you a very small example. There are practical difficulties in this country because of its very diversity itself. There is, because of the type of policing that we have, because of the type of vested interests that are operating. For everything, you can give a caste angle. Everything, anything you can give a caste angle. For anything you can give a political angle. For everything you can give an ideological angle. And with social media, it is getting even more difficult. Because the number of messages that comes and bombards people, it just turns their opinion in a jiffy. For instance, what happened recently, there was one incident which happened recently like that, where somebody wanted to express himself and they gave this incident chatting. So there is a practical difficulty in implementing certain things, particularly the court must not get into a situation where its orders are remaining in paper. அது ஒண்டி வந்துடுச்சு அப்படின்னு சொன்னாக்கா, இப்போது உங்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் அந்த மேடிசன் ஜட்ஜ்மெண்ட் தெரியுமான்னு தெரியல, ஜான் மார்ஷல்து. அதில் என்ன ஆகும்னாக்கா, he would have filed a writ of mandamus to direct the Madison will be the Secretary of State. So, to direct the Secretary of the State to issue the process in order to enable me to take the position of justice of peace. Justice of peace. The brilliance of Marshall came only there. Marshall knew that Jefferson, being Jefferson, will not comply with the order. Jefferson will instruct Madison that don't comply with that mandamus. If a situation like that comes, it will undermine the very authority of the Supreme Court. So Marshall dealt with it. Marshall dealt with it completely differently. He went around it and said that you gave the original jurisdiction of a writ of mandamus through an act of court. When that is dealt with in the Constitution, with an act you cannot overwhelm the Constitution. He struck off the act. And he said that I don't have original jurisdiction to issue mandamus. Why did he do it? Because John Marshall hated only some very less people. The most was Jefferson. Jefferson's second cousin is John Marshall. He hated him, loathed him. But John Marshall was a Chief Justice for 35 years. And at the time when John Marshall was there, John Marshall was the Chief Justice, he had everybody from his own party, Republic Party. Everybody else was from his party. Over a period of time, it became opposite. Everybody else was from the opposition party, but he managed it. Important is you must know where to give directions, which directions can be implemented, which directions you should not give, but you have to just prop. In LGBT case, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just prop them. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? So they'll think that, nammala panna soltaru, namma pannonu, so I give the credit to them. Excellent. Get it done. What is important is that the benefit should go to the community. The community must be recognized. So there is no use in showing your bravado and all that. You should know how to do it. So a judge also must know how to get orders implemented. There are some cases where you can put your foot down and get the order implemented. There are some cases where you cannot do it. When you know that you cannot do it, you should not waste it in the paper. You should see if you can prod, you can sort of push, get it done. Something like that. This is one such thing. Hoardings earlier was banished because politicians were doing it. So it became easy for the court to manage it. Because there was always an opposition party
To challenge.
to challenge it, to question it. Opposition parties are the major, it's a major force which challenges whatever is done by the ruling regime. So it becomes easy for the court to implement it also. But when it comes to such individual things which you are saying, practically there is a difficulty. And particularly in the flat and the car vekkira samajaram, meaning it's getting into a big problem. Car போய் உடைக்கிறாங்க, கீறி விட்டுறாங்க. அது criminal case ஆகுது. Damage to property. How do you deal with it? And police correctா போய் file report charge sheet போட்டுறாங்க அதெல்லாம். You are an accused. There are lots of such things which comes up. So as a judge, when you are holding a position of a constitutional post, if you find that this is something which can be practically dealt with, don't try to complicate it. Call the parties, talk with them, try to see if some via media can be struck, try to see if both the cases can be quashed, something like that. So you will have to keep on doing this. As one day you can only advise people. And if they are not going to take it, very difficult. Very difficult. கஷ்டம் எல்லாரும் மாத்தலாம் முடியாது. டுடே எல்லாரும் உரிமையை பத்தியே பேசுறாங்க. Who understands Article 51 capital A of the Constitution? Fundamental duties னு ஒன்னு எடுத்துன்னு வரக்கூடாதுன்னு Constitution makers நினைச்சாங்க. Because they thought everybody know their duty. But at some stage people thought that people only talk about right. Nobody talks about duty at all. So therefore that was brought into the Constitution as a separate chapter itself. So do we realize our duties when we are questioning others regarding the rights? That's a major thing. Many things must change by realization. Everything cannot be implemented, and not in a country of this size.
Thank you. I have one question.
Yeah.
We can have the last question over there. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Right, sir. I am from technology background, and I've heard Justice Gopinath of Odisha High Court telling that he embraced technology to digitize the court during COVID period. He used the help of the local people, volunteers to digitize and see the access to the case and the case details is fair to all the new practitioners who come in. Is there anything that in Chennai, in Madras High Court, anything that the local people can help you, any volunteers work to speed up something?
See, the problem is when we look at judiciary, we cannot confine it to Madras. The people in Chennai, they were able to adopt it more. In fact, before the COVID, we did not even know how to operate all these things. We started this video conferencing mode only during the COVID period, and Madras High Court became one of the highest number of disposals. A court which was disposing the highest number of cases. But what we saw was it was not going to the grassroots level. Meaning people did not have money to get a smartphone. There are many people like that. And they did not have a place where they can. So there were some advocates who were addressing from a shade, in the shade of a tree. All sorts of things they were doing. Some judges said, how dare? How dare? What do you think is? So my question to the judges, how dare? They cannot come in person. They don't have an office. And you want them to conduct cases. And that is his livelihood. What is your problem? Just hear what he is saying and pass orders. Don't they? And the courting கவுனியும் தெருவில் போட்டுன்னா என்ன நினைப்பாங்க போகிறவங்க? ஏற்கனவே I am saying it is like some vowel. Exactly, I feel like some bat மாதிரியே இருக்கும். நம்ம ஒரு தூரத்துலேருந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்கா அப்படியே ஒரு group of bats அப்படியே floating மாதிரி இருக்கும். என்ன ட்ரெஸ் அது? What type of a dress is that? And for a country of this, இவ்வளோ சூடில் வந்து கழுத்து போட்டு இங்கே கழுத்தை பிடிச்சி அதை ஒரு சில பேர் போஸ்டம் இப்படிலாம் போடும். சட்டை இங்கே ஃப்ரண்ட்டில் வெளியில் விட்டு ஏன் இவ்வளோ கஷ்டம்? And we are the only colonial country who is following it regularly. நான் சொன்னேன் ஆரம்பத்தில். All the other colonial countries have changed their dress pattern. Now it's a decent coat with a tie. It's some emblem to show that you are an advocate or something. So நம்ம வந்து அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு சிஸ்டம் ப்ரிவேல் ஆகிட்டு இருக்கு இன்னைக்கு. But people have, the advocates have taken it well. There are many advocates who are able to now practice by sitting in their own office and attend to hearings in various tribunals, various courts across the country. Across the country, it's happening, but it's a slow process. It cannot happen just like that, because buying a smartphone by itself is a problem. What do you think? You will not believe that at the COVID time, now phone lalla arguments kedukku. Petitioner side, respondent side. நீங்க சொல்லுங்க. நீங்க சொல்லுங்க. ஓகே. இருங்க நான் ஆர்டர் டிக்டேட் பண்றேன். அதை எடுத்துக்கோங்கம்மா. இப்படி வச்சிருக்கலாம் ஆர்டர் டிக்டேட் பண்ணிடுறேன். I have done all these things. People were அவங்களுக்கு ஒன்றும் புரியலைங்க. என்னடா பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க? I said, you have decided to adopt technology. Now somebody has come to court by filing a case. They have to be rendered justice. This is part of the justice delivery system. எப்படி பண்ணா உனக்கு என்ன? I have to hear this person, I have to pass orders, and both of you must hear what order I am passing. It is in the paper. Over. Ultimately what comes in the paper is not he was holding one phone in his left ear, another phone in his right ear. யாரும் எழுத போறதில்லை அதுல. So you will have to make it that easy. I mean, கோர்ட்ல வந்து ஒருத்தனுக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் தடுமாறானா, நீ தமிழ்ல பேசுவான்னு சொல்லு. நீ ஜஸ்ட் கன்வே மீ, அவ்வளோ. நான் இங்கிலீஷ் எழுதிக்கிறேன். அதெல்லாம் ஈகோலாம் பார்க்கக்கூடாது. After all, language is for what? It's for communication. You are not coming and participating in some oratory competition there. You have to get a relief for your client. For that purpose, not everybody is endowed with big English standards. சில பேரால் என்ன மாதிரி சுமாராக தான் பேச முடியும். So what do? We have to survive and we have to bring relief to my client, and it has to be conveyed to court. The judge must have an open mind for all that. System is for them, sir. System is not for your Englishman and இன்ஃபேக்ட் நான் சொல்லுவேன், தப்பா இங்கிலீஷில் பேசு தப்பு கிடையாது, தமிழை தப்பா பேசுறது அது அப்படியே உள்டாவாக நடக்கும் கோர்ட்டில். ஐ டோன்ட் நோ தமிழ், ஸோ இட்ஸ் அ ப்ராப்ளம். அது தமிழில் பேசினா அது ஏதோ தரக்குறவாயிடுற மாதிரி. That's why I am saying that Tamil must also be made as one of the official language in the High Court. People must convey. Yes, practical difficulties are there. நம்மளுக்கு நிறைய equivalent words தெரியாது, பட் அது வந்தால் தானே பேச முடியும். கையில் டிக்ஷனரி கொடுத்துருவீங்க, டிக்ஷனரியில் இருக்கிற வேர்டை யூஸ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு எனக்கு ஒரு ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி வரணும்ல. இங்கிலீஷ் டிக்ஷனரி இருக்குது, அந்த டிக்ஷனரி இருக்கிற எல்லா வேர்டும் நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணுறோமா? அதில் இருக்கிற வேர்ட்ஸை எப்போ யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம்? அதை யூஸ் பண்ணுறதுக்கான ஒரு ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி, ஒரு தளம் வரணும்ல. அப்போ வந்தால் தானே யூஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. தமிழ் வந்து அஃபிஷியல் லாங்குவேஜே இல்லாமல் இதுக்கு என்ன வேர்டு சொல்ல பார்க்கலாம் அப்படின்னா வரட்டும், let it come. And we are not going to compel anybody. யார் தமிழில் வாதம் செய்யணும்னு நினைக்கிறாலும் பண்ணிட்டு போ. ஸோ தீஸ் ஆர் இதெல்லாம் மைண்ட் செட்ல இதெல்லாம் வெளியில் வரணும். ஜஸ்டிஸ் டெலிவரி சிஸ்டம் சிம்பிளாகணும்னு அவர் சொல்கிறாரு. இதெல்லாம் தான் சிம்பிளிஃபை பண்ணணும், அப்படியே சாதாரணமாக ஆக்கணும். இது இருக்கா, இப்படி இருக்கா, என்னப்பா நீ என்னப்பா சொல்கிற, ஏன் இப்படி பேசினா என்ன தப்பு, கோர்ட்டில் இப்படி பேசினா என்ன தப்பு, அதானப்பா ரைட், வாங்கம்மா மை கோர்ட் வில் பி லைக் திஸ் சொல்லி. யாராவது வெளியிலேருந்து பார்த்தோம்னாக்கா இவங்கெல்லாம் எவன் ஹை கோர்ட் ஜட்ஜ் ஆகுனா, வாட் டைப் ஆஃப் மை கோர்ட் வில் ஆல்வேஸ் பி லைக் தட். I don't care about what you think about my court. I care about what goes out of my court ultimately. What quality goes out of my court? What orders goes out of my court? What relief I am giving? What the way in which I am conducting? You are nobody to question. I know how to conduct my court. அப்படியே நீங்கள் பெருசாக பேசி கோர்ட்டை கண்டக்ட் பண்ணி எவ்வளோ டிஸ்போசல் கொடுக்குறீங்க, எவ்வளோ கேஸில் ஆர்டர் போடுறீங்க? யூ ஃபைண்ட் a reason to adjourn a case every time with high English. So technology has really percolated into the system well, but it's again a matter of time. Considering the country in which we are living, it takes time. Now that people are exposed to social media and all that, smartphone to a great extent has percolated. Everybody is able to have access to smartphones, and many are doing through video conferencing. And it has been made mandatory. Now the hybrid mode is mandatory.
Yes.
They have to do it both ways. So I, in fact, in the one lecture which I gave on last Monday, I sat in the court and gave the lecture, after the court timings, of course. And I had the entire court hall filled with physical people. And in Coimbatore Bar Association, they had arranged a big screen with 500 people participating. Madurai Bar, Salem Bar. Apart from that, individual links. So in one go, I was able to address more than 1,000 people, 1,000 students. So your technology really helps you. And if somebody was not able to attend to it, YouTube, it is easily available. So technology has really percolated. It all depends on how effectively you want to use the technology. If you see, for me, looking at people into their eyes and their body language, I am very comfortable talking. Screen பார்த்து பேசுறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். அவன் யாரெல்லாம் பார்த்தா ஒருத்தன் தூங்குற மாதிரி இருப்பான், ஒருத்தன் அப்போதான் டீ குடிச்சுன்னு இருப்பான், நம்ம ரொம்ப மூட் அப்செட்டிங்காக இருக்கும். சில ஸ்க்ரீன் பார்த்து பேசுறது வந்து ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். எனக்கு அப்படியே ஃபிசிக்கலாக யாராவது ஒருத்தன் தூங்கி விழுந்தால் கூட பரவாயில்ல, ஒரு மாதிரி எனக்கு அதை அப்படியே முகத்தை பார்க்கணும், அந்த சிரிக்கிறத பார்க்கணும், அந்த எக்ஸ்பிரஷனை பார்க்கணும், பாடி லாங்குவேஜ் பார்க்கணும். அப்போ தான் என்னால் வந்து என்னை எக்ஸ்பிரஸ் பண்ணிக்க முடியுது. ஸோ ஐ வாஸ் ஏபிள் டு யூஸ் டெக்னாலஜி லைக் திஸ். திஸ் இஸ் சம் நாவல் திங் விச் நோபடி ஹஸ் அட்டெம்ப்டட். ஐ தாட் வை இஸ் இட் தட் ஐ கேனாட் யூஸ் த கோர்ட் ஹால். எனக்கு ஃபிசிக்கலாக ஆளையும் பார்க்கணும், ஆன்லைன்லேயும் பண்ணி ஆகணும். ஃபிசிக்கலாக இங்கே ஆளுங்களை பார்த்து அப்படி பண்ணால் ஒரு சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. எவனோ ஒரு 2 பேர் தலையாட்டுறான், ஏதோ நோட்ஸ்லாம் எடுக்கிறான், நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு உத்வேகம் வருது. So I used it that way. That's all. Thank you.
I don't know how much I can concise and summarize everything that has taken place, but I'm pretty sure we've had 3 hours full dosage of Justice N Anand Venkatesh with us today. I think His Lordship has dealt with many important thoughts and topics that one ought to consider and unconventionally think about when it comes to the judiciary. I don't think there will be any other judge who would have done the same as Sir had done. And I think in one way that also makes him part above the magnificent array of the great judges that have been in our judiciary and will ever come to be in the upcoming many years. And I think that also is something that led our Chief Justice of India to say that thank God that in India we have judges like Justice N Anand Venkatesh. That level of simplicity and that candidness, I pretty much, being an amateur, not even having experienced the legal profession, I'm pretty sure we will never come across. But I'm very glad that all of us today had that opportunity to catch that glimpse of the wisdom of the man that he is and the judge that he has been, proudly of the Madras High Court and hopefully the Supreme Court, although he has no ambition to do that. Nevertheless, we conclude today's session, and to formally conclude it, I invite our Additional Secretary Aruna Shri to just give a small vote of thanks. Thank you.
I think we had a wonderful conversation. Thank you, Aswin, for moderating the discussion with His Lordship. On behalf of the Indian Society for Universal Dialogue, I extend my deepest and sincere gratitude to Honorable Justice N Anand Venkatesh, who has sacrificed his peaceful Sunday morning to share his inspiring words being here amidst us. I'm glad that His Lordship was eager to know about this student-led initiative. I'm certain His Lordship had a wonderful time interacting with the students. My heartfelt gratitude to our beloved Vice Chancellor, Colonel Professor Dr. N.S. Santosh Kumar Sir, for giving us permission to sow seeds for ISUD for all that it will achieve in the upcoming years. We are more than grateful to Dr. Ranjit Oman Abraham Sir, our faculty advisor, for being a constant pillar of support and for guiding us through the right path for this organization to achieve progress. My sincere appreciation to the Alliance Française of Madras, particularly Dr. Patricia Terry Hart, the Director of the Alliance Française of Madras, and Mr. Praveen Kannanur, the President of the Committee of the Alliance Française of Madras, for providing us Espace 24 to conduct this event and having given us permission for future events of ISUD. Last but not the least, to the valued members of the Indian Society for Universal Dialogue, your contributions to the society are appreciated and your presence today has truly made this event successful. As the famous quote reads, every end has a new beginning. I wish for us all to meet in the next edition of ISUD. Thank you, one and all.